One of the most annoying challenges I face is dealing with too much information. I read a ton of books, binge podcasts, watch countless YouTube videos. Basically, I'm always consuming content. But in the end, I often feel overwhelmed and unsure how to actually use what I've learned. That's exactly what this book promises to fix. It's called Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte, and in this episode of Book Club, my series where I break down key lessons from my favorite books, we're going to explore it. This second brain method is designed to help you capture, organize, and actually apply the knowledge you collect. I've been using this system for years, and I even took Tiago's course. So in this video, I'll explain why you should create your own second brain, exactly how to do it using the code framework, and share real examples of how it's made my work easier, my creativity sharper, and my life less stressful. First up, what exactly is a second brain and why bother building one? The starting problem is simple: information overload. On average, we take in about 34 gigabytes of data every day. Roughly the same as reading 174 newspapers daily. No wonder our heads feel full. The simplest way to handle it? Write things down. Sounds obvious, but most of us don't do it. We hear a great idea, an inspiring quote, or think of a useful story, and we assume we'll remember. Spoiler, we won't. If you do decide to write things down, the traditional approach is something called a commonplace book, a personal collection of ideas, quotes, and thoughts. Many successful people do this. Taylor Swift has said she writes down ideas whenever inspiration strikes. Jerry Seinfeld jots down funny lines immediately, even in the shower.
I know you think people are going to be interested in this, but they're not.
Even Leonardo da Vinci kept notebooks full of sketches and observations that became the seeds of his creativity. I keep a physical journal myself, but the downside is it's not searchable, it's harder to organize, and it can be a hassle to carry everywhere. That's why, in our digital age, you can create a digital commonplace book. A single place where every interesting thought, quote, link, or note goes, ready for when you need it. Tiago calls this your second brain. Your second brain can store both external inspiration, things you read, watch, or hear, and internal ideas, thoughts that pop into your head while driving, showering, or working. For creatives, writers, musicians, YouTubers, this is a game changer. You never have to start from a blank page. Instead, you have a library of ideas ready to develop. But what if you're not a content creator? Here's the thing: almost every modern job involves working with information. Philosopher Bertrand Russell once said a job is moving matter at or above the Earth's surface. Today we also move knowledge around, taking in information, processing it, and producing something from it. Doctors, consultants, marketers, teachers, it's all about turning information into results. That's where a second brain can help anyone. Tiago's system is built on the code framework: capture, organize, distill, express. I'll break each step down and show you how I use them in my own life. One of my favorite productivity quotes comes from David Allen's Getting Things Done. Your brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. The more you try to remember in your head, the less mental space you have for creativity, problem solving, or simply relaxing. Calendars and to-do lists help with this, but a second brain goes further. You capture all valuable ideas in one place. Personally, I use Apple Notes as my second brain. Notion is great for team projects, but for my own ideas, Apple Notes is quick, searchable, and always accessible. If a quote moves me, I save it. If I find an amazing website, I drop the link in. If a friend says something inspiring over coffee, I pause and write it down. I also record my own thoughts, often while on trains or flights. I've realized my ideas have more value than I used to think. Now that I'm writing a book, I often rediscover old notes that are perfect for a chapter. Some capture as manual, some as automated. I use tools that automatically save my book highlights, podcast notes, and article clippings. Over time, I've built a huge library of insights to revisit when needed. Step 2. Organize. Most people file notes by source, a folder for book notes, another for podcast notes, and so on. Tiago says that's not useful. You rarely go browsing old podcast notes for fun. Instead, organize by actionability, where you'll actually use the information. For example, anything that could end up in my book goes straight into that book's folder. Anything for a YouTube video goes into that project's folder. It's about the output, not the topic. I give the same advice to students. Don't study biology, study to answer a specific question or complete a specific project. It's way more targeted and effective. Step 3 is distill, boiling your notes down to the most important points so they're easy to use later. Tiago's method for this is called progressive summarization. Basically, highlighting in layers so the essential insights stand out instantly when you revisit them. Finally, express, turning your stored knowledge into something tangible. This video is me expressing what I learned from the book. For you, it might be a client presentation, a blog post, a song, a design, anything that shares your ideas with the world. Without this step, your second brain is just a storage unit. The whole point of code, capture, organize, distill, express, is to make creating and sharing ideas easy and low stress. Two big ways this has helped me: slow burns versus heavy lifts. I keep multiple projects simmering in the background, adding bits to them over time. By the time I sit down to make, most of the work is already done. Fast prep for teaching. Recently, I had to give a talk to 100 students with only 2 minutes to prepare. I opened my second brain, pulled some bullet points and supporting notes, and was ready before arriving at the venue.